Brad and I have had chickens for over a decade now. And this year alone, we've sold about 2,500 eggs. I would say we probably did closer to 3,500 last year. And maybe the year before that, it was even higher or lower because it kind of goes with the cycle of the chickens. This year, our gross number is right at $1,000. That does not include the feed that we have put into them. That is just the $5 a dozen that we have been charging. And I believe that was around 212 dozen eggs. So 212 potential interactions. Let's say 150 interactions because most of my customers bought at least 2 dozen eggs. So I had at least 150 scheduled egg pickups just this year. That is about 3 a week. That is taking up my time, energy, and mental space to provide eggs for customers in my area. That doesn't include the gathering of the eggs, the feeding of the chickens, the watering of the chicken. So I decided it was time to think about how profitable eggs really are to our homestead. The great homesteading father, Jill Salatin, encourages people to have a backyard flock for their own egg consumption and to sell some to help build their customer base. And we have done that for a long time now. We have sold a lot of people a lot of eggs. I've really spent a lot of time thinking how many of those egg customers have turned into RABITT customers, farm tour customers, elderberry customers, Airbnb customers, workshop customers, all the things that we offer. I've tried to really hone in and think about how many of those egg customers have converted to something else that we also offer here at our homestead. When we first started selling eggs back in 2014, I believe it was, we sold them for $3 a dozen. And then probably around 2020, we went up to $4 a dozen. And then probably by 2021, we were up to $5 a dozen. Our chickens are fed a non-GMO, soy-free feed, and we do rotate their little grassy area on pasture so that they have fresh access to grubs and bugs and all the good sorts. But they are in an enclosed area. They are not free range. We do not allow that because our dogs eat them. Well, one dog eats them. And then you also have a greater chance of predator issues. But we really, really, really need those chickens in our pasture out here. Brad has been working so hard on this pasture to get it a top-notch nutrition for his sheep. And so we really need to get our chickens out there to help this process. This is a bowl of scraps I'm about to take to the chickens. It has some muffins that got moldy, an old tomato. This is persimmon pulp from 2018. Plantain peels from my stuff this morning. There was some green bean remnants in there, grape remnants, raspberry and strawberry remnants in the bottom. This is going to make their day. Let's go take it to them. Chickens act as natural little tillers, I guess you would say, in the regenerative agriculture world. They go behind your livestock and gobble up their poop and spread it out and eat out the bad bugs and do all the things that you want done with that poop that's left in the field. And we have yet to put our chickens out there because we don't really have a good system. We've applied for a couple grants to try and get a good mobile unit, and we haven't gotten those yet. And I have not really wanted to go the extra mile to get eggs, so then go the extra mile to sell them. And so we just haven't made it there yet, but things are about to change. We have decided to get our chickens mobile and to get them out in our field at least during the spring, summer, and fall. We don't have a terribly bad winter here, but we don't want to deal with freezing waterers out there in the field. So we will still have a space to bring them inside in the barn for the winter months. But for the most part, they're going to be out there in the pasture, stirring up the sheep poop, regenerating our field to feed our sheep. I have wanted to get rid of our chickens for a while now. I told Brad there's plenty of places around here that we can just go buy our eggs, support them in their chicken raising, and be done with them for ourselves because they're not profitable. They really do not bring us any profit financially. And as I said earlier, I had been thinking about if they were bringing in other customers to us, and I really couldn't pinpoint a huge growth in our customer base from selling eggs. Essentially, we have been doing a community service by selling eggs because we don't make enough money. And here's the deal is I still have people turn their nose up at me for $5 a dozen in our area. If I wanted to actually become profitable, I probably would need to charge $8 to $10 a dozen. And I don't know if I want to market that, if that's where my passion is. I am much more interested in my rabbits and even in the sheep. And I just told Brad, I just want to get rid of the chickens. And he said, I'm not ready to get rid of them because I want them to work my pasture. And so therefore we started making an effort to get them out on pasture. And the way we're going to do that is by putting a mobile unit out there and completely downsizing our flock. We came to the conclusion that in order for both of us to stay happy with the chickens, we had to no longer do a community service by selling them for $5 a dozen and working our butts off for no profit, and just go back to having chickens for our own pleasure, our own good, our own nutrition. And so as of 2025, we will no longer be selling our eggs, at least in this next season. We have not found them to be profitable. If something changes down the road and we have a good outlet where we can sell them at a profitable range, we might consider going back to it. But for right now, we're going to let these guys go. We're going to downsize with our brand new flock of chickens. And I'm going to put in the caption here what we got because I can't remember what it is. It's something that Brad picked out that's good foragers, that is also good egg layers. And so we got something else to try, something new. And we bought them from Myers Hatchery, and they threw us a little bonus one in there, which is kind of fun. We actually had an egg out there, but I'm going to give it to the dogs. And they had a bowl in there that I poured these scraps in, so I wasn't putting my Christmas cookie tin in there with them. So now I want to challenge you to think about if your eggs are actually turning you profit, if your eggs are still bringing you joy, if you're nutritionally benefiting from them, or if there's someone down the road that you could get them from without the extra work. I know there's a lot of people that want chickens just simply because they enjoy them. They like to watch their chickens, and that's fantastic. That's why I got a couple ducks. We just got 2 ducks. I'm not going to be selling duck eggs. They're going to be for us, and so I can enjoy them. So I can watch them do their duckness things and eat the bugs from my yard and benefit from a different source of protein. We're not going to eat the ducks. We're just going to have their eggs. So I'm still calling that protein. And so I just had to pull all the numbers and come to the conclusion that our flock of about 35 to 40 chickens is just not profitable. It's just not worth it. And I'm going to hopefully bring the joy back into having chickens by just having enough for us and not having to stress about dealing with at least 3 to 4 interactions a week with customers. And don't get me wrong, I love customers. I love dealing with people. But there comes a point where it cuts into my family time without profit, and that's not always a good thing. It's okay sometimes. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm really spending a lot of time focusing in on what's benefiting my family the most. And obviously we spent a year thinking about what to benefit our community. And so we're changing our gears just a little bit and realizing that we have just a few short years left with our children at home. And so I'm wanting to focus in on them and teach them the most that I can with the time that I have them. And so letting go of eggs in our community is the first step. There are several little egg for sale booths that's gone up down the road here. I've seen them on Kodak Road and around the area. I'm sure you could be able to find somebody else that sells eggs if you're one of my egg customers. Know that I appreciate you, and we so are thankful for the support that you have given us. And we're not mad at anybody. We're not frustrated because we can't charge you enough or something like that. We just simply had to pull the numbers and look at the whole situation for our family and if it's profitable for our homestead. Who knows? A year from now, no one may be knocking at our doors and we may not be selling anything because we let our eggs go. I don't know, but we're going to try this out. We're going to see if we build the benefits for our family time-wise, energy-wise, mental space-wise, and hopefully we're able to grow in other areas on our homestead. If you have went through the egg numbers and you have something to share, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. If you have found a way to make eggs profitable, let me know your scale size and let me know your prices and your location. I would love to hear from you as well, because it's not just paying for their feed. You're paying for the infrastructure. You're paying for your time. You're paying for their shavings. You're paying for their water. You're paying for their fencing, everything. So I think people don't always factor all that in when they say that they're turning profit on eggs. So again, I hope to hear from you in the comment. And until next time, eat more rabbit. And I have to really wrestle with understanding how many of those egg customers actually turn into customers of other parts and pieces of our, that's not making sense.